helping them to improve on those aspects of their processes that may be resulting in flouting of these financial regulations and laws of government. We believe strongly that this has more benefits than just looking at the adversarial level, the judgment level, the punishment level. Even though that is still there, and we do wield the big stick when it becomes necessary. Recently, we were doing an investigation on the expenditure for COVID-19, and we discovered that a ministry got a sum of 10 billion naira to establish a vaccine production plant, and they never, established any vaccine production plant, and didn't return the money to the federal government account. These are some of the things that you see, and you just wonder what exactly is happening. And we had to really, come hard on them and direct that such monies should immediately be refunded back to the treasury of government, where the money was refunded. Imagine what 10 billion naira can do. Imagine how many blocks of classrooms that can construct, how many laboratories it can provide, and so on and so forth. So these are just some of the examples of the things that do happen. And when such things happen, we have to come hard on such an MDA.
All right. So the Public Accounts Committee is a very key committee in the House of Reps and even in the upper chamber, the Senate chamber. In terms of public sector reform, what are you looking at to help the MDAs deliver effectively on their respective mandates? What recommendations have been made in the past, and what are the new ones to be made?
Well, I mentioned a few in my earlier statement, but to be very specific now, I think one of the problems we do have with our 50 million naira. So if you budget 50 million naira for a project that will cost 1 billion naira, you are very sure that that project will not be delivered. And there's no way that anybody can even start anything meaningful with 50 million naira of a project of 1 billion naira. So we believe very strongly that the envelope system of budgeting, even though it has own advantages, has a whole lot of disadvantages, and is really impacting negatively on the ability of most of our MDAs to deliver on their core mandate. Another thing is that even after the approval of the budget, the executive also takes a lot of time in implementing those budgets. So if we say we have gone back to a budget cycle of January to December of every year, and by June and July of a financial cycle, we have not started implementation of a budget. We do not have any capital release as at July of a particular year. It will be very difficult, going by the provisions of the public procurement law, to expect those agencies to be able to deliver on those mandates that are included in the Appropriation Act within these few months of the year, if they will do things thoroughly and diligently. And then another area has to do with the issue of supervision. And that is where the oversight of the National Assembly comes in. The various committees of the House are taking the issue of oversight more seriously now, so that we don't wait until the deed is done. We engage with the various agencies right from the scratch to work together with them in a manner that will make us be able to supervise the implementation of the budget in a manner that will make us more efficient. Of course, there is also the issue of capacity in some of the agencies, and I must say this: we have discovered that some of the agencies lack the required capacity to deliver on some of the things that are appropriated for them in the budget. And if they don't have the technical capacity to deliver, there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. A man can only give what he has. If he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. So these are some of the things that we have identified as problems in the various implementation of the mandates of the various MDs. And as an institution, the House of Reps is committed to helping these agencies, helping government to ensure that we reduce all these bottlenecks, we reduce all these problems in a manner that will make us, deliver better service to the public.
All right. Now let's talk about equipping those who will deliver the service. Now, this workshop has been coordinated by Africa Development Studies Center. Why did PAC choose to let them coordinate? What's your take on human capital development and the role that Africa Development Studies Center is playing, and in this one that it has collaborated with Public Accounts Committee and also Office of the Auditor General for the...
Absolutely. If you look at the 10th Assembly of the National Assembly, especially the committee I have the privilege of chairing, since the commencement of our work in the month of October of 2023, we have taken the African Development Studies Center as a major partner in human capital development. The unveiling of the committee itself came with a very robust training program for members of the committee. So as a committee, we ourselves need to be well equipped to be able to drive the capacity development of our major stakeholders. So it begins with us. And, from October till now, our committee has embarked on 4 major training programs. We have had 1 international training programs. We have had 3 local training programs in the last 7 or 8 months thereabout of our operation as a committee. And the African Study Development Center is a major partner in this regard. We look forward to deepening this engagement. And this is one of the ways we are deepening it, this collaboration with the Auditor General's office. We are also identifying some other major stakeholders that we can collaborate with to target specific cadres of officers in the public service to ensure that we do training and retraining. There's no other way because the world is dynamic. You cannot use yesterday's strength to run today's race. You have to keep, fueling. You have to keep recharging. And it is only through these human capital development programs that you can get that done. So I assure you that this is something that will work for that one.
Very insightful and a powerful word of wisdom you just dropped there. You cannot use yesterday's strength to run today's race. All right, now let's talk now to those who you represent, Nigerians who the rep members are there for. Some of them sometimes see members at the House, talk, committees, and sometimes they're wondering, why did it take so much time in deliberating? Could you take us through what it takes to do your job?
I just remember that, my son asked me one time, Daddy, apart from holding meetings, what other thing do you do? I said, there's no other thing we do, it's meetings that we do. Yeah, that's our job. That's the work of the parliament. The parliament is a place of discourse. The parliament is a place of debate. It's a place of conversation everywhere in the world. And it is the debate, the discussion that we have that result in the most principle of our work, which is lawmaking. We make laws for good governance, for security, for welfare of Nigeria. And you can't make laws without having discussions. If anybody brings in a bill to the House, which is the first stage of lawmaking, it has to come to the House for first reading. It goes through the second reading where you have a discussion on the major principles of the bill. And then if the bill passes through the second reading, it goes to the stage of public hearing, where you then call all persons that should ordinarily be interested in the bill, the stakeholders, to come together and discuss. It's also a discussion, it's also a meeting, to bring their input, to look at the bill and tell us the merits, the demerits, and so on and so forth, before it goes back to the House for consideration of the report by the whole House, and for the third reading when it is passed, into law. So that is the principal function of the House. And like I said in answering some earlier questions, we have the responsibility of oversight. The oversight is the supervision aspect to ensure that you don't just pass laws and go to sleep. Are the laws we passed being obeyed? Are they being implemented? Don't forget, even the Appropriation Act itself is a law. You vote so amount of money to be used for the reconstruction of so road. Is it being done? Is it being done in the manner where it should be done? The Committee on Works will look at that. You voted money for equipping of teaching hospital. The Committee on Health will come and do that. You vote money for purchase of equipment by the military, maybe some fighter jet and so on. The Committee on Defense or Army or so will come and do this. That's another thing we do. And then finally, the work of representation, bringing what has now come to be known as dividends of democracy to the people at home. Now, the federal government is a very large institution. Somebody cannot sit in Abuja, for example, and know the need of a community called Ikoton in Egbado local government of Osun State, or a place called Alajue in Ede South, or if you're there in Nijibu. They can't know. It is me, as their representative, that will go back to the federal government and say, well, you know what? In Ifeodon, federal constituency, there is no motorable road. We have a federal road that links Iwo to Ejigbo to Ifeodun to your state. It's a federal road. We need it fixed. And then we put that in the budget or in any other way through which it can be implemented. So that is the role of representation, where we act as the spokesperson of the persons who voted us into office. So basically what we do is talking. What we do is meeting. And that is the work, because that is what democracy is all about. Democracy is about discussion, it's about engagement, it's about representation.
All right, finally, after a week of training, what is your message to the participants at this national workshop? What are you expecting to see differently when your committee receives financial statements?
Yes, well, very importantly is the need for us to make use of the knowledge that we have learned here, so that we do not appear like the man that the Bible describes as the man who looks at the mirror, and by the time he leaves, he's forgotten what he looks like. We have looked at the mirror here. We have seen, we have heard, we have read things that we need to do better and differently. And it must not stop there. We have to then apply the knowledge. It is the application of knowledge that is called wisdom. The man who has knowledge and refuses to apply them is not a wise man. I expect every participant in this program to be wise. And that is to apply those things we have learned in making sure that our books are tidier, that our processes are lawful, that our execution of projects are value-driven than they had ever been. By the time all these things happen, we'll have less case for inviting agencies to come and defend this, come and explain this, come and shed more light on this. You have very less incident of such happening.
Thank you so much, Rev. Bamdeli Salam, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of the House of Reps Nigeria, for being with us on Souq podcast today. We thank you so much that your committee saw it necessary not just to sit and expect that the right thing is done, but to take the step to ensure that those who will do the work know exactly what to do. And we hope Nigeria soon will begin to reap the rewards of this workshop.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you.
And this is where we wrap it up on the special series of the Souq podcast, where we've been having interactions with the organizers and participants at the national workshop organized by Office of the Auditor General for the Federation in collaboration with Public Accounts Committee of the House of Reps Nigeria to train, to equip MDs, CEOs of ministries, departments, and agencies with current trends in public sector accounting and auditing. We do know that at the time of scarce resources, what we do with the resource that we have is very important. I'm Blessing AG. Watch out for what's next on Souq Podcast on the next edition.
According to the former UBA Group Managing Director, Mr. Kennedy Uzoka, he's a man that knows it all. Also, another describe him as an encyclopedia of knowledge. The both are now farther from the truth of a man whose career has spanned over 4 decades, being part of a dozen organizations in both the banking and manufacturing sectors. Serving in different capacities as either a director, board member, or chairman of organizations such as Anywell Flour Mills PLC, PZ Cousins PLC, Nigerian Breweries PLC, and United Bank for Africa PLC. In the same vein, he also had some link with the British American Tobacco Nigerian Foundation and Nutrisima Limited. He was once the president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, where he clamored for the patronization of local content by all well-meaning Nigerians. Also, he served as chairman of the former Universal Trust Bank PLC UTB before the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo implemented the recapitalization of banks in Nigeria. Born Kolawole Babalola Jamodu on February 9, 1944 in Odo Ere, Yagba West local government area of the present Kogi State. Kola Jamodu attended St. Paul's Primary School in Otimete City College from 1958 to 1961. Harvard Business School, Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America from 1986 to 1987. His mother was Mrs. Fumi Olabinwonu. Not much was known about his father. At an early age, Kolawole showed an uncanny drive for knowledge and learning, which will form a greater part of his adult life. His rise to fame hasn't been without its peculiar episodes of challenges. He started his career with the United African Company of Nigeria, UACN, in 1962. 3 years later, he moved to Lever Brothers Nigeria Limited, now Unilever Nigeria PLC, and in 1965, where he received many years of experience of over 10 years in production, commerce, and finance. He later joined PZ Customs Group in 1975 as a group accountant. Chief Kolawole Jamodu, for many who work closely with him, he is a go-getter, both in the business arena and an exemplary leader in achieving the corporate governance with a litany of portfolios in diverse sectors. He's a trailblazer practically in many areas. He was the first Nigerian to be appointed as Group Finance Director at PZ. In 1980, he was appointed Chairman, PZ Nigeria Limited, then a trading subsidiary of the PZ Group, while still holding his position as a PZ Group Financial Director. In 1987, he became the first Nigerian Deputy Group Chief Executive, and in 1990, he became the first Nigerian Group Chief Executive of PZ Customs. Still in 1990, he was appointed Chairman of PZ Customs PLC, becoming the first Nigerian to combine the positions of a Chairman and Chief Executive. He, in 1999, after he had served in that capacity for many years, meritoriously retired but remained on the PZ Board of Directors as Chairman in a non-executive capacity. Known for his strategic touch of class, T2, although his first appointment as Executive Chairman of PZ Customs was interrupted by his appointment as Minister of Industry in 2001, when PZ went through a tumultuous season in 2013. When revenue nosedived and profit hemorrhaged, Kola Jamodu was on every shareholder's lips, underscoring the confidence reposed in his ability to provide effective leadership hitherto wanting for the company at that time. Known for his knack for having the right strategy to grow business in a difficult market. In his capacity as chairman of Nigerian Breweries PLC, Kola Jamodu led the strategic investment and acquisition that have enabled Nigerian breweries seize key markets from competitors, positioning the company to maintain leading market share, moderate operating costs, and grow wealth for shareholders. In 2014, Nigerian Breweries acquired Consolidated Breweries Limited, with which sales revenue grew by 10% in 2015, even as the total brewed market declined. The company saved cost and defend profit drop in 2015. Jamodu also served as chairman of Universal Trust Bank PLC, a director in Ashaka Cement, and a director in Honeywell Flour Mills PLC. And also, he's been a director of United Bank of Africa since 2007. He's a fellow of Chartered Institute of Accounting, Nigeria, fellow of Chartered Institute of Management Accounts, London, and fellow of Chartered Institute of Secretaries. The name Jamodu trumpets loud and clear in Nigeria's boardroom leadership, owing to his dedicated work and great accomplishments in building businesses. Jamodu has only been a seeker of new challenges, set to brave and break new grounds. Our key takeaways from his tenure as minister highlighted the introduction of various innovative backward integration policies that enabled self-sufficiency in the production of goods like cement and other staples. These moves led to increased foreign direct investment, job creations, and a major boost to national economy and GDP. Dr. Jamodu, after a hiatus from the private sector, was appointed to numerous board positions with reputable multinational companies in Nigeria. For a start, he was reappointed chairman of United Bank for Africa PLC as a non-executive director in 2007. It's worth of note to say that in 2006, Dr. Jamodu was appointed to the board of Nigerian Breweries PLC as a non-executive director and later moved to become chairman in 2008, where he served 17 years meritoriously, spending 15 of those years as board chairman, and on April 30, 2023, retired as chairman of the organization, leaving a legacy of growth, innovation, and continuous success. Under his watch, the Nigerian breweries grew in leaps and bounds, strengthened its brand presence, and continued to drive positive change in the Nigerian brewery sector.
What was achieved during my period was a joint effort, because you can't say a leader if there are no followers. There are committees, and these committees are made of members of mine.
Chief Dr. Kola Jamodu is a recipient of several national honors, including Member of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, MFR, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, CFR. Also, is a recipient of the National Productivity Merit Award, NPMA. Additionally, is a Chartered Global Management Accountant, CGMA, a Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management, London, and Fellow of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. He is also a Distinguished Fellow of the Institute of Directors, Nigeria. During his 4-year stint at the helms of affairs in the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, he served in different capacities like the National Treasurer, Chairman of the Economic Policy Committee, Chairman of the Policy Advocacy Committee, Vice President, and later President from 2010 to 2014. Also, he is the past president of the Harvard Business School Alumni Association of Nigeria, a former president of the Chemical and Non-Metallic Products Employees Foundation, and an honorary member of the Nigerian Industrial Policy and Competitiveness Advisory Council, chaired by the Nigeria's Vice President. He's also served in various capacities such as Member of Council at the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, NECA, Member of Council at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, and Distinguished Member of the Board of Fellows of the Nigerian Institute of Management, NIM. He is an active member of Ikoyi Club 1938, Lagos Island Club, Lagos Metropolitan Club, Lagos Motor Boat Club, Moderates Club, and Lagos Dining Club, some of Nigeria's most prestigious social organizations. Not many people, prominent or otherwise, could be suitably described as detribalized nationalists like Dr. Kola Jamodu, whose great likeness for all and sundry cultures and tongues, coupled with his numerous contributions to the growth and development of various communities nationwide, earned him several chieftaincy titles such as Ashiwaju of Ere Kingdom in Kogi State, Are Akbashewa of Ere Land, also in Kogi State, Babalaja of Lagos, Boba Gunwa of Ere Land, Kogi State, Maye Bobajiro of Ibadan Land, Oyo State, Barakoyi of Oshogoland, Osun State, Mayegun of Ayetoro, Bede, Kogi State, Fiwajoye of Mulipa, Jebuode, Ogun State, Ikemba one of Oba Nsuka, Ari of Erukuland, Kwara State. Jamodu is nothing short of a legend. Although with limited experience in partisan politics, he stood tall and stepped into the plate when occasion presented itself in Kogi State, when he took leadership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as minister, serving in the cabinet of the ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo. In the middle of 2020, Chief Dr. Kola Jamodu served as the pioneer chairman of the Elders Advisory Committee (EAC) of Pan-Okun Relief Response Agenda, which played a pivotal role when the world was faced with the coronavirus, mobilizing resources to provide relief materials for the entire Okun people, as well as address various issues relating to the pandemic in the land. He, through the Kola Jamodu Foundation, KJF scholarships are provided to several poor students through all levels of education, primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, medical support to indigents who have genuine medical conditions but couldn't afford to foot the bill. Chief Kola Babalola Jamodu, over the years, his hobbies have been the same: reading, traveling, golf, and badminton. He is married to his sweetheart, Olori Asiwaju of Ere Kingdom, Chief Mrs. Fumilayo Jamodu, and they are blessed with children and grandchildren. Chief Dr. Kola Babalola Jamodu.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the World News on Souq News TV. I'm Blessing AJ. Let's start with a story from Kenya that says the country's foreign debt declined by 1 trillion shillings in January due to the strengthening of the Kenyan shilling against major global currencies. The appreciation eased the country's debt burden, reducing repayment costs for external loans denominated in dollars and other foreign currencies. According to the National Treasury, the currency's gains resulted from improved forex inflows, reduced import bills, and a strategic economic policy. This has provided fiscal relief amid ongoing efforts to stabilize Kenya's macroeconomic environment. Economists caution that sustained currency strength is needed for long-term debt sustainability. The development is expected to influence government's borrowing strategies and foreign investment decisions in the coming months. In South Africa, where the government is turning to China for climate financing after the U.S. withdrew $1 billion from the Just Energy Transition Partnership, JETP, the funding gap initially covered by the U.S. was part of a broader coalition involving France, Germany, the EU, and the UK. The country remains committed to its renewable energy goals, with China emerging as a key financial partner. Analysts believe Beijing's involvement could accelerate South Africa's transition efforts, ensuring ongoing investments in clean energy. The shift highlights China's growing influence in global climate financing as Western commitments waver. With the U.S. exit, South Africa faces the challenge of securing alternative funding sources. The development reflects broader geopolitical shifts in climate finance, with emerging economies increasingly relying on China for support. In another development, the European Union has announced a 4.7 billion euros investment package for South Africa to support key sectors, including energy transition, vaccine production, and digital infrastructure. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen made the announcement during talks with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa in Cape Town. The investment, part of the EU's Global Gateway initiative, aims to bolster South Africa's shift towards clean energy while strengthening economic and technological ties.